Welcome to the December question and answer session. Before I launch straight into it today, please subscribe. I don't want to have ads on my channel, but I can't do anything about ads. Like, I have to leave them there until I get 1,000 subscribers, and then I can do away with ads and we'll all be happy. So please subscribe. It'll only take you a second. Okay. Now, my first question today is from Leslie. Do I leave KU? Are you making any money on it? If you are, then don't leave it. Never stop doing anything that's making you money. Unless, of course, it's illegal, like robbing a bank or, something else illegal. If it's legal and it's making you money, keep doing it. Now, if you're selling direct, you can still have the direct store. Lots of people I know are on KU with their bestsellers, and they have their old backlist that didn't do well in KU and they pulled it out. But they also have print books, and they push print books and do very well direct with their print books. And they can also sell audio books. So all their audio books, all their print books can be sold from their store. And they can also, if they, for example, have a Shopify store, they can make it work as a website, and they can do a default template for their KU books and remove all the buy buttons and send people directly to Amazon. But I would suggest to say on that page, would you like to buy the paperback, from me, or the hardcover, whatever it is, or the audiobook. And also, if you have, say, frequently bought together, you can go and disable that book from appearing, because if you're sending someone to Amazon, you don't want to cross-sell them in your store. That would be a bit of a mess. Okay, so the short answer is it doesn't have to be one or the other. In fact, it shouldn't be one or the other, because if you sell direct, you should also be selling on the retailers. You should be doing both. And if you're in KU, like lots of people make 7 figures in KU, should they stop doing it? Well, I mean, they'd be quite mad, wouldn't they, if they did? So if you're making money in KU, stay in KU. Now, some people say to me, what if KU folded next week? Well, these people who are making a lot of money would have put money aside. Things always change. Businesses always change. I always recommend the book, Who Moved My Cheese? It's an excellent book about the landscape changing, and people need to be flexible. Businesses always need to be flexible because things always will change. KU has gone through several iterations. When I started, it wasn't even a thing. So stuff will always change. You just have to be prepared for it. And the people who are making 7 figures in KU, of course, are prepared for it. And they're putting stuff away. Make hay while the sun shines. It would be absolutely crazy for them to pull their books out of KU. So it typically takes longer to get traction wide. It's different when you have a direct store, because you can sell paperbacks. As I said, you can sell audiobooks. And if you have your backlist, which is starting to perform poorly in KU, by all means, pull that out. But bear in mind, KU readers can be very, I'm trying to think of a polite word, passionate. They can be very passionate, and they can become extremely upset if you pull your books out of KU, and you might receive some really nasty, nasty emails. I know people who've had life threats, if you know what I'm trying to say. So just because they remove some books from KU. So don't think because your backlist mightn't be doing well that it's safe to pull it out of KU and you won't receive any flack, but you probably will. And sometimes the minority are the loudest people. But you have to do what makes you money, so you can't worry about that. Just do it, be prepared for a bit of fallout. So this is what I would say. Under no circumstances leave KU if you're making money. That's not common sense. And business is all about common sense. It makes no common sense to do that. Stay in KU if it's making you money. But if you have a backlist that's not doing well, start to pull it out and put it wide and put it on your store? I've had this question from several people, so I won't name them all, but this has come up a lot lately on my free Facebook group, Authors Selling Direct. And I'll address it now. People say, how much money can you make selling direct? And in fact, can you make money selling direct? Of course you can make money selling direct, but this is the one thing that you need to take in above all else. A book is simply a product. A book is not a magical unicorn. Please take that in and consider that. Because although I say this to people time and time again, their responses indicate they have not accepted that fact. And it is a fact, a book is a product. A book is not a magical unicorn. Sure, books are typically lower priced than many products, but they're higher priced than some. And when we sell direct, we do need a higher average order value, so we tend to sell in bundles. But all that aside, that's getting away from the question I'm doing and heredity and digression. So I shall come back to the point. Can you make money selling direct, and how much money can you make selling direct? That's like saying, how much money can you make having a shoe store? How much money can you make selling camping equipment? How much money can you make having any sort of business? Go down and look at a street. You walk down the street, what do you see? You might see a cafe. Can you make any money with a cafe? How much money can you make with a cafe? An antique store. Can you make any money with an antique store? How much money can you make with an antique store? A shoe shop. Can you make any money with a shoe shop? I went to a fairy shop to buy presents for my nieces the other day. Can you make money with a fairy shop? How much money can you make? Can you see where I'm going with this? There's no one answer. A business is a business. There are so many businesses and there are so many different types of products. There is no one size fits all. Like, for example, real estate investing can be a good way to make money. Does everybody who goes into real estate investing succeed? Of course they don't. Of course they don't. Does everybody who opens a shoe store succeed? Of course not. Do some make millions? Of course they do. Amazon, I've done very well out of the retailers over the years. Does everybody? Like, I went to get a loan to buy an investment house sometime a few years back, 10 years ago or something. And the bank guy was going, oh, look at your income. Oh, I'm going to write a book. And his assumption was, I suppose probably because I'm a woman, but anyway, that's an aside. His assumption was that if I could do it, he could do it too. Anybody can write a book and make a lot of money. And I've even had friends who've said to me, oh, you're doing well, I'm going to write a book. But those of us who make a living from writing, no, it's not that easy. It's not that easy. And it's like some people make 7 figures on the retailers. Some people they don't even make 1 figure on the retailers per year. It's not selling on the retailers that is a magical fix. So everybody in the world would be selling books on the retailers. So it's not a one size fits all. Say you're passionate about shoes and you want to open a shoe store, and you might say to someone, is it possible to make money selling shoes? How much money can I make selling shoes? It's exactly, like, that might sound silly to you, but it's exactly the same with books. How much money can you make selling books? It's up to you, and that's the secret. It's up to you. It's up to what you put in. Businesses take investment of time and money. And when you're selling direct, it is an e-commerce business, and businesses take investments of time and money. Back in the day, there was a rule of thumb. People used to say, you shouldn't make a profit in your first year of business, in the sense that every cent you made in your business in the first 12 months, you should plow back into your business. You shouldn't take anything out of it. And that was a rule of thumb back in the day. So whatever the general opinion is today, the point is businesses take an investment of time and money. It's not like selling on the retailers. They do a lot of work for you. You probably wouldn't realise how much work. People don't realise how much work the retailers do for them until they start selling direct. And people are typically frustrated with a lot of the retailers, and I've experienced that frustration. But all that aside, they're just a business like any other business trying to make money, which is a good thing for them. And they have their own rules, which might be frustrating, but they do a lot for you. And when you have your own business, you have to perform those actions. You won't have somebody else doing it for you. So how much money can you make? It depends on you. It depends on your brand. It depends on your business. It depends on your experience. It does not depend on genre. Categorically, it doesn't. Apart from the fact that, say, it might be easier if you're a romance author and you can blow up on TikTok and take that across to your direct store. But direct stores for cold audiences, that's leveraging hot and warm audiences. Direct stores leveraging cold audiences, it's all across the board. It has nothing to do with genre. There are no categories that, for example, Shopify says, oh, your book is in this category. That all goes out the window. All you need to succeed in e-commerce is good products and good marketing. End of story. Don't be sucked in by somebody trying to sell you a special method they've invented. I always say, do the 8-figure businesses follow a secret source, a secret method that someone has invented? They do not. They follow sound e-commerce principles. You've got to get back to the basics, get the basics right. Have a properly converting product page. As I always say, people say, I don't need help with Shopify. I've got it set up. I look at their store and then I feel like turning to drink when I see how often horrendous, to be quite honest, their stores are. They're a hot mess. Nobody is going to buy from that store unless they're already a customer, or should I say a reader from the retailers brought across. It's easy enough to have a horrible store if you're successful on the retailers, because your readers will come across and a lot of them will buy from you, a lot of them won't, but you can make money that way. And again, if you're making 7 figures on the retailers, it's not going to be hard for you to make 7 figures from your store. If you're making 5 figures on the retailers, it's not going to be hard for you to make 5 figures from your store. If you're making $10 a year on the retailers, it's going to be hard for you to make more than $10 on your store unless you change things up. And that brings me to another point, because this is one of my favorite topics. Selling direct is not a magic pill. It's not a magic potion for success. Just the same as selling on the retailers. Like going back to the bank person and friends of mine who said, oh, you're doing so well, I'm going to put out a book. And they thought they could do the same thing. If it was like that, then you wouldn't have a disparity of income on the retailers. You wouldn't have some people making 7 figures and some people making practically nothing. It's not rocket science, is it? It's good old common sense. And we always need good old common sense in business. Now, basically, the bottom line is whatever you're making on the retailers, you can make direct without a huge amount of effort. But you do have to put certain strategies in place if you want that income to continue. I have seen time and time again many people post that they've gone to sell direct. They're already making, say, high 6 figures or 7 figures on the retailers. They come across to selling direct and they do very well. And then it suddenly stops. Why does it suddenly stop? Because they've got their hot readers across from the retailers. Many of them buy from the store, but then their stores are hot messes and cold readers see them scream and run for the hills. And that's typically it. So to answer the question, can you make money selling direct? Obviously, of course you can, but you just can't if you sit on a chair and watch Netflix and don't put any money into your store. Of course, it's not enough simply to have a Shopify store. It has to be optimized, or WooCommerce, or whatever you've got. It has to be optimized. It has to be set up to convert. But saying, can somebody make money selling direct, is the same as saying, is it possible to make money with a shoe shop? Is it possible to make money with a cafe? Is it possible to make money with a restaurant? Is it possible to make money as a nail artist? Is it possible to make money as a beauty therapist? Lots of people make gazillions. Lots of people make nothing. You see where I'm going with this? It's not the actual store type, and books are only products. It's you. You are the factor. It's whether you're prepared to put in the hard work, because it's not easy. If you love writing and hate admin, then don't sell direct, because you won't like it. But if you do like admin, or if you love business, then selling direct would be wonderful for you. And I do believe it's a natural progression, the way things are headed. So I hope that answers the questions of all those people who ask. And I'll move on to the next question now, which is back matter. And this one comes from Howard. Thanks for your question, Howard. This is a very good one. With back matter, should I link to Amazon or the other retailers, or to my store in my back matter? Now, this is kind of like a jigsaw. You've got to find a level. There's no straight out answer here, because you'll need to transition. Now, those of us who are selling mostly from our stores would only link to our stores in our back matter. And to an extent, retailers will push your books. Like retailers, if you're doing well on the retailers, they will send out an email, and they will to your readers, they will recommend you to retailers. They have all these systems in place, but you need the systems in your store. So, but if you're making a lot of money on the retailers and you haven't started to make much on your store because it's new, then that is a hard question. Where do you link? I'm in favour of linking to the store, but not if you're making a lot of money on the retailers and your store is new. So it's a balancing act. So I can't give you a better answer than that, because it's not cut and dried, and it is a balancing act, and it's an individual decision. Like if you don't link to the next book in the series in your back matter, say to Barnes & Noble, Kobo, Google Play, or whatever, or Amazon, then maybe you'll lose some sales. But don't forget, you also have newsletters, and you've also got the retailers to do that. So it's a balancing act, and it's up to the individual to decide at what point your income will sustain you only linking to your store in your back matter. But don't forget, the retailers do help you out a lot in that regard. And when you're running a store, it's all on you. This question is from Carmen. Is the 20% Facebook scaling rule genuine? This one drives me nuts. No, absolutely not. No, this is a horrible old myth. And as a former academic, it really pushes my buttons when people think myths are real. I don't mean like the Greek gods and things like that, because maybe they were real. I'm talking about myths that people perpetuate. Like someone's made something up. There used to be a 20% text rule that you couldn't have more than 20% in your creatives. Maybe people got that mixed up. I don't know. But categorically, Facebook has never said if you scale more than 20% in a day, you will be hit by a tornado. Facebook has never said that. If anyone says Facebook did, ask them for a source, ask them for cold, hard evidence, because it's not true. Now, sure, scaling's tricky. Scaling is very touchy. You can scale by rules, but I'm not talking about scaling now. I'm answering the question. No, Facebook has never said you can't scale by more than 20% a day. Categorically, no. Don't listen to anybody who tells you that. If they insist, ask them for evidence, ask them for a source, ask them to show you where Facebook ever said this, because they didn't. It's just one of those rumours that's been perpetuated. And it's very easy to perpetuate things, isn't it, on the internet, because Fred blogs will say something, everyone will pick it up and run with it. And half the time it's not true. It's just a baseless rumour. So there is no 20% rule. I mean, what if you had $10 a day? What's 20%? I'm really bad at maths. What is it like? $2. Okay, what if it was $5,000 a day? 20% of that, I can't do maths, I'm hopeless. A lot. It's a lot. So $2, a lot. You know, of course, there's so many factors you have to take into account, like it's the history of the ad. There's so many other factors. It's not just the amount you scale by. It wouldn't be a good idea to scale by a mega amount, but 20%, no. That's just stuff you find in cow paddocks, I'm telling you now. Okay. Oh, that was the last question. All righty then. Well, keep your questions coming for January 2024, and I will answer your questions there. But please subscribe, because I really want to do away with ads, and I can't do away with ads until I'm monetized on this channel, and I need 1,000 subscribers and a mega amount of watch hours in order to do away with ads. Happy New Year. Bye for now.